Guten Tag und Willkommen to Ulti.tv's coverage of Vienna Spring Break, live here on a glorious, not quite summer, but summery morning here in Austria. Delighted to bring you coverage of this weekend's Vienna Spring Break of both the Open and Women's divisions, and it is the latter of those that kicks us off on the streaming fields today with the reigning UK champions Bristol taking on Catchup Graz from here in Austria. My name is Benjamin Rees, and I am delighted to be joined this weekend by Mr. Corey, let me put my teeth back in, Corey Sostre.
How you doing, guys? It's a pleasure to be here. It's a beautiful day, like Benji said, in Vienna, and we're very excited to get started.
It is absolutely glorious. There's maybe a tiny breath of wind, but otherwise the sun is out, probably about 20-ish degrees, maybe a little bit cooler than that, but it is a glorious weekend to be playing, for lots of these teams, the first tournament of the season. We've got Catchup starting on offense here, going from left to right as you see it in the white shirts, with Bristol wearing the red, trying to get a little shake and bait to get up the line in the handler space, instead going for that big swing. Trying to initiate play from the middle of the field here, Catchup. This one goes deep. It's a spicy effort, but actually there were two Bristol defenders there ready to close it out, and they snaffled that one away pretty confidently.
Exactly. I do like the deep shot early, but it was on the near side as well, so it's hard to kind of fit it in there.
There's that mantra about same third hucks. You don't want necessarily be aiming down the sideline because you've got so little margin for error.
Exactly.
With that sideline to think about. This is a big swing, but I think this is going to be slightly overshot. There's a layout on the far side. The only question is going to be whether it's in bounds, I think. And unfortunately, because you feel like maybe it deserved more, not able to toe that sideline on the far side, and it's going to be out of bounds. Half the fields are slightly narrower than expected. This one's got a lot of float on it, a couple of Bristol defenders there, and again, they're dominating that aerial battle so far, Corey.
Yes, I completely agree. It's just, again, I'm not sure what it is with these hucks kind of going over, but what might be affecting it early. Like you said, there's not much, so I'm interested to see kind of what goes on here.
Offense stagnated a little bit here for Bristol, but that's a nice inside flick there to find that space, and now Bristol looking deep themselves towards the back of the end zone. Really well read, utilised the full depth of the pitch there, and Bristol break to take a 1-0 lead in this game.
It was nice, too, how they just kind of caught some of the wind so it could hang just for a little bit, just give you a little like grass in the air, like, and then just kind of floated back onto the nice side to favor Bristol on that one.
It's one of those things where it feels like it's not that windy, but if you take it for granted, it can easily bite you, I think.
Precisely, I completely agree. It's just, like you said, that 1 millisecond matters so much as well, too. And like you said, if you let it kind of just drift off, it can catch you.
And even though they're maybe losing the height matchup there, if you get there early enough and you body, you read the disc well, you box out, then despite having a smaller frame, sometimes you can still really do damage in the air.
Oh, completely agree. That just comes down to the fundamentals as well, too. Like you said, if you can just get a nice body on them, let them know, hey, I'm here, then precisely that can kind of do the defense itself.
So I'd say that's a pretty good start for Bristol. A couple of turns, couldn't quite put the first one in, but they struck it the second time of asking. And Bristol have a little bit of history here because I think they've won the last 3 runnings of this event.
Oh, wow.
So they are, I think, very much maybe the favourites coming into this weekend, especially building up for the World Ultimate Club Championships taking place in Cincinnati, Ohio again this summer.
The good old USA.
Yeah, you were saying some rather disparaging things about Cincinnati.
Yes.
But it's still a world tournament wherever you put it. That's a good use of the break side space there. Now trying to force them towards the middle of the pitch, Bristol. Nice plant on that upline cut to create space on the dump pass, but that slightly more horizontal shot towards the far sideline. Again, not finding its target, so a few early offensive jitters here for Catchup.
I definitely think, too, I think there might have been some communication error on that one. It looked like it was just a slight hesitation for the catch, just a little bit out, and then it came back in.
And it's one of those things that good defense can do to you.
Exactly.
Strong reset, but it's just drifted away a little bit there. And that's the credit for being really sticky in match coverage, because it means you can put a harm in there to disrupt the flow of the disc. Towards the sideline, and that's just a stone cold drop, I'm afraid. And maybe early on in the tournament, first few points, maybe you know, streaming pitch nerves.
Exactly, just getting warmed up. You're just getting warmed up.
Yeah, we were, I think, how can we put this? I'm not a player who likes to warm up, but both of these teams, I can assure you, went through very concentrated, strenuous warm-ups beforehand.
Precisely.
And yeah, just another focus error there, perhaps. The dump throw behind, and it's going to give Catchup really short field position here. And this is a scenario where they really should be punching this in. They're going to set up a vertical stack at the back of the end zone. The pressure's on the force to stop the break. It comes, but maybe with a little too much float and just nipping in that inside channel to slap the disc away.
I completely agree, Benji. That's where one of my philosophies, especially in the end zone set, is you got to run to the front cone. And that one, it looked like the throw kind of came to the back end. And so she was able to go get the D.
That's a sneaky little throw up line to create a little bit of space. And Bristol once again trying to look deep towards the sideline. In or out is going to be the call, and she's called out of bounds, and I don't think she's going to contest that either. Yeah. Good spirit.
It's good effort from both teams, too, on that pitch, too. Especially so far from the game, honestly. I mean, it's only been 2 points, but it's been invigorating, excuse me.
Good word, invigorating. I like that. This is going to go back on a pick, I think. This is one of the problems that you often get with vertical stack offenses, especially when often on setup or when you're close to the end zone, is everyone's very close, you're in that same space, and it does frequently cause picks to occur.
Exactly, and that's where you have to utilize the field, kind of space out, just so that way you don't have these incidents occur. But like you said, once you get to the end zone, it does kind of creep up, so you just got to make do with what you have.
Another throwing error there, just a little bit of dew on the turf, so can make these throws a little bit slippery.
It's a nice inside break.
A beautiful way to initiate the play. And sticky fingers indeed. Squeezing it through that inside lane. A lovely little bit of inside-out shape there, just to take it past the defender, and it's another Bristol break. They've taken a 2-0 lead here, and we're going to see it again on the replay. Utilising that full break space and the continuation there. Again, a tiny bit of inside shape, but that flows relatively flat because you're starting from all the way over on that break side already. So you've got that lovely channel between the handler and where the majority of the play is, just to kind of thread that in there. Really well executed.
Exactly, Benji. I couldn't have said it better. Honestly, I'm a big fan of those inside throws, and just to see 2 for the score. And then also, we can't take away from that amazing catch. One-handed snag to take away, saying that's mine.
Authoritative. We'll go.
Agreed.
We'll go with that. It's just it's a lovely day. You can tell that, you know, we've kind of got that like early season enthusiasm and excitement in the voice. It's good to be back. There was kind of a truncated semi-season last year, but it feels like Ultimate is really properly back this year, and boy, is it good to be back. I've missed you all. This time Catchup trying to get the deep look, and
what a throw! So you go straight from the deep look with the catch on the line, and then also you see that flick to go in the back corner of the end zone. That was a nice, fast, progressive, kind of flow to that offense to get the score.
What I really like there is that even though they had some deep looks in the first point or so and they didn't come off, they're still not afraid to try that, because A, that's good because it shows a lot of faith in your receivers downfield, and B as well, if you can show that you can connect on those shots, it does open up a lot of space closer towards the disc as the game goes on. This is just a good read. It tails away but got the box out, so even though the players trying to come over the back, they couldn't squeeze it in there. And then this one, that's a visionary throw. That blade really zinging it into that back corner. As a defender, I don't think you're necessarily expecting that shot to come off, but it just shows that you've really got to have your head on a swivel, because that could go.
Precisely, and then like we said too, to bring it back to the point we had before, that box out is so necessary, just because that float on that disc, if she didn't box out, it could have gone anywhere, honestly, but that box out kind of ensured the position there, so that way the odds of increasing to get that catch was beautiful. And then like you said, the blade in the back of the end zone, just magnificent.
Yeah, you're trying to box not quite directly under the disc because it can make it difficult to track, but you're boxing slightly away from it. So that means whichever way it kind of tails, you've still got that position. That's theoretically what you want to do.
Precisely. Box the person, not the disc.
Good way of putting it. Here's the pull from Catchup. I think it's going to be caught probably on about the end zone line. Good pull. Love to see that. Bristol, rather than going offense and defensive lines, tend to have one line going one way and one the other. And then running it deep. There's 2 receivers there. I thought maybe there was going to be the chance of a miscommunication, but got there early enough, put the name on it, and now brilliant end zone play, just dumping it off and utilising that break side once more. Bristol have done that to devastating effect for a 3-1 lead here. It's their first time they've come out on offence so far this game, and they marched it in beautifully.
I was about to say, Benji, there's a few things I like more than a nice deep shot right there, and that was beautiful. I did think there might have been a miscommunication error. It just looked like both players want the disc. As per usual, you always want the stats, but it was just a beautiful catch, beautiful throw, and then just an easy end zone kind of catch right there. Look.
What I love is that there's the calmness and the presence of mind, not just to immediately jam it in, which is exceedingly tempting, but you know, let other players kind of follow and join the play, get into position, take the reset, and then see if you can do something with that when your offense is a bit more structured.
Precisely.
Sometimes, you know, I'm not saying that you always have to do that. Sometimes the open throw is available, and if someone's open, you should take it regardless of where they are. That's kind of my philosophy. But there, didn't quite see what she liked, or like what she saw. One of those ways round. I can't remember. It's early. But yeah, so just taking the reset and utilising that break space. This time it's Bristol to pull to catch up, a little bit shorter, but it's going to make its way past the break mark. Try and give Bristol a chance to get there. Set up quite deep, actually, far away from the disc are the catch-up players, and that cut coming from the back. Took a little bit of a circuitous route, perhaps, caused the pick.
As I'll say, Benji, I even like the deeper stack look. It's just more of the spacing kind of issue. Like we said, they're all kind of clattered, so you can have another pick right there.
Yeah, really trying to give themselves a lot of under space to work with. And again, but you say they are quite clustered in that central space, and that's the it's the 3rd pick we've had when catch-up are on offense already this game. So something maybe to keep an eye on. Obviously, no one wants to cause picks, but that's a really good snag in the middle of the pitch. There's a tiny slight dipper there as well, so the ability to spring up and catch that.
Full extension, too. That was a beautiful catch.
Highly impressive and good focus as well here. Trying to get the offense going, and they're looking deep, tailing over the defender's head. And one hell of a snag there from catch-up to make this 3-2. Came right over the defender's head.
That was beautiful. You can even tell the OI throw to kind of go out. To give space to throw it to the offensive catcher, so that way she has plenty of space to kind of fall on if the disc need to go back. And then, like we said before, just that beautiful extension of the arm to grab it out the air. What a snag.
Yeah, we're going to get another look at it here on the replay. Just taking it into the center. And the play is already quite deep when this takes off. So there's not necessarily... So again, the defender's quite close, but it's just precision with the throw. And the cut's coming kind of straight down the middle of the field, which you want as a thrower because it gives you more space to aim at. And that time, as you mentioned, just getting that nice little shape and that roll curve on the disc to arc it over the defender's head. And the receiver read the trajectory beautifully.
It was beautiful. Again, nothing like a nice slinging it downfield.
Gets the people going.
It does.
It does indeed.
Especially at this beautiful 9:14 in the morning. Nothing better.
God, it's still so early. Hey, I know it sounds like I'm complaining. I'm not. There's nowhere else I'd rather be.
So we get ready for the pull.
So Bristol again. Last time they came out on offense, they just worked it calmly down the field for the score. Nice chanting on the sideline from Catchup. Try and fire the team up, and Bristol, they're looking deep again. That one, I think maybe just stopped the cut a little bit, just lost the side of the disc maybe, and first offensive turnover there for Bristol. We've currently got it. We've currently got the score as 3-2 to Bristol. Turnover there is going to give the Brits back possession. Swinging it across the pitch, that's low.
That's down.
Yeah, try to get the hands underneath to scoop it before it hit the turf, but just couldn't quite snag that one on that occasion. So taking the reset, the centering pass before the offense gets in motion here. Up line.
That cut.
Nice snag there with the left hand. Thought she was going to put the big Really trying to pressure that there. There's going to be a stoppage and I think potentially another pick here. It was called a few seconds ago.
Of course. I'm completely interested to see kind of what the catch-up defense has to offer on offense as well, too. I'm seeing a lot of handler work, which is what you typically see with defenses kind of working along that to get comfortable, and then maybe some cuts there. We did see one streaker down the field trying to get there, and maybe that's where the pick occurred, but we're going to see hopefully we can get more with the cutters this time.
Cool. Players just making sure they're in their positions and trying to work out where the disc is going to come back in from. No one in the vicinity, so the self-check, and we're back underway here. Takes the reset and the swing around. That's nice, good continuation play there from Catchup, but they can't get the gaining pass afterward, and it's just going more horizontal than vertical at the moment. Another nice break. Oh, thought was going to get it at the second attempt, but just wormed and weaseled its way out of the fingers. Bristol once more. Strong cuts come underneath to the open side. Really trying to squeeze it in there. Not quite in the end zone just yet, but on the doorstep. Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry about that, Benji. Like we said, too, this is one of those instances where you have to beat the cone. You have to get the first one to that, just because if you can see with the boundaries right close, and then also they're forcing that sideline. So as you as a cutter have to make it to there.
Yeah, that time couldn't find an option, and the uncontested stall out, which often feels like somewhat of a rarity, but maybe just little too end zone eyes there. Laser focused on getting that score. Maybe should have opened up the pivot slightly to access a bit more of the field.
Precisely.
It's easy to say with hindsight though. Underneath, and there's another pick.
And Benji, as we can see here too, I'm thinking it's going to be very interesting to see kind of how this catch-up offense, again, can kind of break these marks. As you can see, it's more of a force middle kind of flick. Actually, right now, it looks like they're going to a flick force. And just sees if they can demand more of these cutters.
That upline cut's going to go. And they knew it, but they couldn't stop it. Again, no quite continuation off that. First swing comes and then the second. They've generally done that very well. It's just connecting that second pass afterwards.
Right.
That one into a crowd of bodies in the middle of the field is caught. And now they've got a little bit of flow going here. Just trying to keep those stall counts low, keep the discs moving quickly.
Oh, nice cut. Nice cut.
Yeah, and the little hammer fake there maybe just got the defender a little bit wary. Trying to squeeze this one down the line, still not quite in the end zone, but they are on the precipice here. You've got to make the focus there, I think, to stop the upline cut, because you know how dangerous that is this close to the end zone.
Precisely.
They did that well. And again on the high stall, batted away. That is really good end zone defense from Bristol.
That was beautiful right there. Again, running through the defense, especially at that end zone line, you can't beat it.
Unfortunately for Bristol, just got it wrong on the first throw, and now they're back playing defense again.
Yep.
We've all done it. Showing a good propensity to break the mark around, even with not necessarily gaining too many yards on it, but that one right into the center, into the teeth of the defense is not going to work.
Right. Now we can see what Bristol's offense has to offer as well, too. Undercut. Beautiful. Give her the disc. Yes.
Now they're stretching it, getting those a little bit more room to work with. And on the sideline, is that towed in? I couldn't quite see from this angle. They seem to think so, so we're off to continue and just about squeezing it into the end zone. Maybe a little bit unorthodox, but if it works, who cares?
Exactly, Benji. I got so excited when she just threw it up there. It looked like I could see both of them kind of contesting. I was like, oh no. I think it just kind of goes down to who wants the disc more. And as we can see, the Bristol women wanted it more at that point.
We're going to see it again here on the replay. You understand the look because there's a little bit of separation and it just floats a little bit. Yeah, well in. Well in. It's always difficult to see. Resets her feet a little bit, and that slingy blade is a little bit lower than I think she would have liked, but still connected with its target, and that point was a little bit of a grind, but Bristol come out on top, re-establishing a 2-point advantage here at 4-2. About 20 minutes in, I think games are 70 minutes plus cap here today, so plenty of time left in this one for either side to potentially pull away or throw a spanner in the works.
Exactly, and even going back to that replay we saw too, Benji, I think you exemplified your point earlier in the session where you said that if you have that look early and you want to take that look early, you can take that look early, and then you can see it just kind of, I see 2 people open in the end zone, I'm just going to chuck it, and like you said, maybe a more established throw, so that way it wasn't a little low, but hey, we'll take it.
So this ball from Bristol, I think, is going to drift out of that far sideline. So we'll get our first brick of the game. With these narrow fields, it's easily done. So I mentioned, just probably throw you a little bit. This time they're trying to go from a horizontal setup catch-up, maybe because the going vertical has caused those picks. It's stunted a little bit of their rhythm, perhaps. This one, nice handler movement, but it just ricochets off the hands now this near sideline.
Very interesting horizontal look there too. I think as Bristol was going back to that force middle look, the horizontal is usually the combatant to go with it, but as we can tell, it just kind of got the better of them this time.
Trying to get it off the line. This one's going to float a little bit. Got the hand there. Wouldn't quite stick in. It's one of those difficult ones where it's a little bit behind and you're reaching and your body's going one way and your arms are trying to go the other.
Beautiful throw right there.
Nice gainer to start possession, and that one's going to be called back on a pick. Checked back in. Beautiful inside shot to the middle of the pitch there. Manipulating the mark around and then utilising the space gained. And the shot goes deep. A couple of players there and well read in the end. Not sure that was the intended target, but you've got to credit the hustle and the endeavour there to make sure that there were bodies in the area.
Exactly. I love the determination on that point too. As you can see, she was gunning that disc the whole time. She started, I think, from the 4 of the stack and just eyed it and just said, you know what, I'm going to get this one myself.
You'll hear a lot of the time about heads-up defense, and that's heads-up offense.
Exactly.
Opened up by that inside swing pass, the defender maybe overcommits towards that break side a little bit with the momentum taking it there, and it means there's a bit more space to really step into that sidearm shot. It's a beautiful inside throw. And
just to exemplify that point too, Benji, it was beautiful because you could see it right there when she looked at that inside throw and she looked at the reset and said, hey, I need some help right here. Can you make that cut in? So they said sure, and then they went boom for the inside throw. It's just something about nice buttery insides that you just can't beat. I mean, it's just nice slangs and insides for me, maybe some layouts, and hey, we're happy.
All I need is someone to throw a thumber, and I'm I'm easy.
I'm more of a Scooby snack type of guy too.
Scooby snack?
Yeah, get a little scuba action.
Oh
in there.
Right, yeah, of course. Yeah, I got you. It's still early in the morning here in Vienna, about what 9:25 local time, watching ulti.tv's coverage of Vienna spring break in the middle of a timeout at the moment with Bristol from the UK, currently 4-3 up on Catchup Graz from here in Austria. We're going to take a little bit of a breather and we'll join you again very shortly.
The ultimate things in life are free, and we're keeping it that way. Subscribe to keep up with the latest games, tournaments and community content. Share it with your team and friends, and drop a like to help spread Ultimate to more people. Spread the word, spread the love. Ulti.tv.
If you are enjoying our coverage here on Ulti.tv of Vienna Spring Break, and you've enjoyed the coverage that we've been able to provide in the past and we'll do throughout the European and World season, a reminder you can find out more information on our website. And I highly recommend as well becoming a patron on our Patreon page. There are various perks there, including the ability to vote for potentially upcoming games. There's already some polls up for EMUCC, the European Masters Ultimate Club Championships next weekend, and if everyone who watches and enjoys is just able to chip a little bit in, then we'd be able to do so much more of this, and that would be a pleasure and a privilege.
Also a big shout out to our production team too. They grind to make this happen, so a big shout out to them, and then also to my fellow commentator Benji, just a legend within the booth.
Oh, thanks, Corey. That's really nice. Yeah, we've got the main man Mike on the knobs and dials, Felix on cam 1, and Nick on cam 2 at the moment. We'll kind of rotate, I imagine, between the three of them as the weekend goes on, and we'll do a little bit of chopping and changing in the booth, because I think my voice will need a break at some times. Those of you who remember back to UK Nationals last year, 2 games in I was absolutely gone, which is not ideal for anyone. So yeah, we'll get some friendly faces back in the booth as the weekend goes on, which is something that we're very excited about. We're back underway here. Catchup pulling to Bristol. Gaining some easy yards down that break side. There's still no force, so I'm not sure if this is a miscommunication or it's an intentional decision. Either way, this is what they need to do. Just utilise that free player and just work it all. Just go your way all the way down the pitch. If no one's stopping it, I'd just keep taking it. They finally do get that force on.
I was about to say, that was an interesting look right there, Benji. Throw to space, first the cone.
And that is pretty textbook, really. Utilise that free player for what, 3/4 of the field, and then when they finally got that mark on, just transitions to a real textbook dump and swing offense. Get it from one side of the pitch to the other. Really utilise the full width of the field. Have that first handler clear out, and that opens up the space for the second. There's the immediate continuation there, and good timing on the cut downfield. Just flick that out into space. Sticks it, you can see that left foot lands first, clearly in bounds. And again, Bristol's 2-point lead restored, now at 5-3.
Just a beautiful flow to that as well. Like you said, just a dump right there, a dump throw to the first of the cone, as we keep saying. I'm going to stress it as much as I can just because it's textbook. And so, as you can see right from the bottom of the stack, or the end of the stack, excuse me, just as soon as eye contact and catch made, right down to it, get the score.
Yeah, we've got plenty of Ultimate to come here today on ulti.tv. Switching between the Open and Women's divisions, kicking off things with this Women's division matchup here this morning, and we are going to flip-flop over to the Open division next with Foy of Prague in the Czech Republic taking on Fire of London. That game next up here on the live stream. Catchup back in play here. Pretty sure that wasn't the intended target, but I love how switched on that was to get horizontal and make that snag, sticking into those 2 claws.
With just a heads-up catch, too, just to make sure that, hey, I need to stick with the play. You never know when it's going to come back to you.
Now Catchup, trapped tight on the sideline. They're going to try and put this throw into space, and there was not much of a window there, but took the opportunity nicely, again, using that nice outside-in shape to just roll it past the first defender, slide it in there before the second can get a look.
So Benji, you're saying there's a chance for that? No, it was a very nice kind of confident, like you said, believe in your catchers, believe in your cutters, believe in your throwers, and just kind of going from there. But it was very nice from Catchup. Again, I have to stress enough to kind of keep that attention to the disc on the offense, because that's what kept this drive alive, just kind of this flow.
You can see there as well that that second defender recognises that upline cut's coming and switches off to provide a little bit more pressure, but the throw is pinpoint precise, and that's what it needed to be. This is one of the things I've missed about tournaments, is that, like, you get that real buzz, don't you? Like, just the chitter chatter kind of around the fields, even before the games start in the morning. Like, there's that anticipation and atmosphere that you just don't necessarily, that I think you take for granted. I certainly took for granted when Frisbee wasn't really happening during the pandemic.
Exactly, just even more songs to add to your playlist, honestly.
Again, the Catchup sideline, trying to make themselves loud and a little bit of a nuisance. But Bristol, boy.
It seemed to work.
It did seem to work, because maybe just a little bit of a focus, that throw rising ever so slightly. Defender couldn't reel it in. And if they can stick this point in on the break, Catchup have tied things again. It'll be the first time they've been level since we started this game, and they're trying deep towards the back of the end zone. It was not far away.
Even a baseball, softball slide right there, trying to make sure it gets in the end zone. But it was close. I do like the shot. I do like the thought.
Not a bad idea, but especially on the break as well, want to maybe get a big momentum boosting play. Try and really G up your team as a nice round break towards that far sideline. Not seeing original continuation. Reset handler comes downfield, so not to lose so much on the reset cut. Again, really zinged in there, love running through the disc there. And a feather flick out into space. This time they're going to shoot deep, going low, not quite in the end zone just yet. Thought about the jam, and then getting into position and then seeing, actually, if you're not going to follow that and you're going to leave the space up line, why not just take it?
We'll take it all day.
Why not just take it? So Catchup had their chance to draw level, but Bristol did what good teams do, and they earned the turn back, and then afterwards, clinical, marching it all the way down.
Just some nice chill offense right there, as you can see this deep shot, boom.
If you're being hypercritical, you would say maybe you want that a little bit further, but it's much better to, you know, take something off it and make sure the throw's completed, rather than absolutely gun it and not give your receiver a chance. But yeah, no panic on the doorstep there. Just looking, is there an easy continuation pass? No, not seeing it, so just little look round, sees that handler's coming, there's no defender there, and that's one of the easiest scores you'll ever throw.
Yeah. Just that nice patience right there, just to be like, yep, I'm right here, I'm just going to hold it and see what it gives me. They gave you that. Gave you a score, if you will.
Yeah, and of course, if the defender's covering that, you'd imagine you get the big plant, turn into the backfield, you reset the stall count, and you get yourself a little bit further away from that sideline as well.
Precisely. Then you go into your end zone set plays and everything along those lines.
By the end zone set play, I assume you just mean knife it into the middle of the stack, right?
I mean, I think so too.
This is where there's the most people, so you've got the most chance of catching it.
I was about to say, as a tall cutter myself from back in the day, I love to see that, just kind of jump ball there, but...
As a noted tiny person, I hate to see it, but I love to throw it.
We see Catchup come back in this host stack as well too.
Yeah, getting that receiver from the far side, coming underneath, isolated in plenty of space. Really good purposeful fakes there to get the mark biting, getting a lot of snap in those. And Catchup looking towards the deep game again. This one rises and climbs the ladder once more.
That was straight money right there. Oh my goodness, just straight. It was a straight up mark too, if I'm correct, Benji. I think so, on the sideline.
Yeah, they're trying to stop the big a little bit because they've seen that. Yeah, I think it's straight up shading on that backhand side a little bit there. But Catchup again, especially when we consider the first couple of points, their deep game was really faltering. They've they've got their eye in, so to speak. They found their range, and this one is absolutely slung towards the back of the end zone. But I mean, when you're making grabs like that, keep doing it. It's very well saying, you know, you can't rely on it you can't do it every time. But I know full well that as a thrower, I'd be tempted to put it every time.
I was about to say, I mean, shooters shoot. It's in the blood. So, I mean, right there, it was just a nice pitch and catch. It was, again, a phenomenal throw, phenomenal look, but then also a phenomenal catch, fully extended over the defender, too. That's what you love to see. It's
what you want to do, really, with those deep shots, is you just want to make sure that you're giving your receiver a chance to make a play.
Exactly. And even to the nice OI, as we got to mention, to the back end zone cone, so that way it gives plenty of space, and then also a chance for the cutter to get at least somewhat of a chance on that.
Yeah, tailing towards that break side, of course, where the defender is not. Generally throwing to where defenders aren't, I find it to be a pretty viable strategy.
Yes.
Again, the catch-up sideline is, they're making their presence felt. And, again, one of those other little things that you forget about when you're when tournaments are going on. Oh wow, brilliant bid comes through. Doesn't get there, but I love that there's no mess, no fuss. Straight back on the feet, back on the mark, springing around on the balls of the feet. Lovely little, again, floated up line. And they're going to rifle it deep once more. That is cheeky because it really drew the defender in and baited them there. But they couldn't quite close that gap. And that absolutely on the money. You can take that throw all the way to the bank, Corey.
They really can. It was just a perfect dime downfield. Oh my goodness, I'm just infatuated with looking at this.
It's a pretty throw, and as you say, it's a real teaser and a tempter because the defender, you've got to make the bid, because if you don't, all you do is, why didn't I do it? Because I might have had it. But it's always slightly too high for them, and it's perfectly weighted.
Exactly, and even have to give it to the cutter too, just to have that determination and also the focus, I should say, mostly the focus, because usually what happens is when defenders go for that type of defense, even if they don't get it, we call what's called an intimidation D, or a timid D, so that way
I've got
at least, you know, you get distracted and then you might...
Yeah, just your presence being there can exactly put someone off, but you're seeing there as well why it's so why teams love trying to get their dominant throwers in those power positions up the line, because you're catching it, your momentum's going forward, and you're already seeing the field in front of you as you're catching the disc. So you catch it, you can already see the cut developing where you want to go. Your momentum's carrying you forward anyway, and it means that you've got a little bit more forward thrust going into those throws.
Exactly. As a handler, that's the dream right there too, just to kind of get those nice momentum upfield slangs.
See, I can tell people how it's supposed to work, even if I can't do it myself.
I'm right there with you.
Because you will not really find a better example of it than that. This time they're trying to trap them on that far sideline.
Good throw.
Do get the reset off. Yeah, they're switched forces here. Maybe because they're wary about those flick blades going over the top. So switching to shading backhand shading on to force the backhand here. Up line cut goes. Defender maybe loses their footing, and this one is, well, going for the OI across the inside out all the way across the pitch, and the defender was right there to knock it away because they needed to be. I thought when it was thrown that it was going to go out, but just got that nice shape on it to bring it back in, and when it invited a maelstrom of bodies underneath it, and Bristol got there first.
And even then too, it's a beautiful example of a box out. It's just a mismatch right there, so that way if you can put the body on.
And that time, a little bit of space there that is held up ever so slightly though, and Catchup able to close the gap.
That's what I say. I think she's got a few fingers on that too from Catchup.
And that is a huge block on the mark. Got a huge piece of that.
And that was so important for the Bristol defense too, because you could see they were so interested within that deep look that they took two, Bristol did, to catch up that one catch-up. So that person had a nice open look. So that hand block was very nice, very important.
And a hand block like that on the mark is the sort of play that can really energize a team, I find.
Exactly.
There's something that's really kind of smothering it in your face about it, as that's a dangerous throw into the middle. That's really well snagged.
As we see still no mark.
Yeah, again, there's no mark. I want to go every other. Just take what they give you. Instead, they're going towards this sideline. Oh, trying to force them back into the middle of the pitch, not far out of the end zone there. And one good turn deserves another, I guess.
2 hand blocks in 1 point.
I mean, you love to see it.
You really do love to see it.
Unless, of course, you're the thrower. But as a neutral here on the sideline, this is what I'm here for.
Exactly.
Snuck that backhand into a really tight window down that narrow channel, and you can tell that the Bristol defense has ratcheted up a couple of notches here, trying to get this break to go into half-time. 3 points to the good, coming out on offense in the second half as well. This is a good look there. Just took advantage of the defender face marking to float it out into space, and maybe a touch too nonchalant on the catch.
So I'll say I like the look. I think maybe even a little bit of wind caught that too, but yeah, just a little nonchalant, kind of maybe catch that with 2 hands.
Again, Bristol working it down the pitch, trying to break for half. Up line cut will go, sneaked into a tight space, jumping it into the front of the end zone, score signalled, and that'll take Bristol into half, 8-5, 3-point lead and receiving to begin the second half.
So I'll say, Benji, what a first half to kind of begin with in the game. That was beautiful stuff right there. I mean, just got us invigorated. We saw some layout catches, we saw some Ds, we saw some hand blocks, we saw some layouts, we saw some deep grabs. I mean, what else could you want?
For the first half of a tournament, not bad.
And the first game too, yeah.
Yeah, not bad at all. That's the second hand block on that point. That one's like, just slaps it to the floor. And then we're seeing just a replay of that half-taking score here. Getting the downfield players to clear out. That up-line cut starts nice and early, so it's got that space. Just leads it into the end zone for the score. It's not been perfect from either side, but then, you know, first point of the tournament, first game of the tournament, first tournament of the year. If it was, it would be somewhat suspicious, I think.
I completely agree with you. It's also interesting, too, just to kind of see the different defensive looks and offensive looks from both teams. Like we said, we see some vertical stacks, we see some horizontal stacks, we see some force middles, some flicks, you know, just typical stuff, but it's just nice to kind of get those repetitions in against two good teams, excuse me, and then also just to see two masterminds kind of go at it just to see what works and what doesn't.
Yeah, it's one of those things as well where if you go to a tournament and, you know, you steamroll everyone 15-0 or whatever, I mean, great, you've won and you feel great, but how much have you necessarily actually learned from it?
Precisely.
Sometimes you need to have these closer games because you will have games, you know, in important tournaments that are close. You need to know how to clutch those out. You need to know sometimes how to play a little bit, we'll say, gritty.
Yes. I think that's a beautiful word, too. Just kind of seeing with everything going along. Like we said, right now, the win was kind of nonchalant in the beginning, but now it's starting to pick up here. So
yeah, we're going to take a little bit of a half-time breather as well, get some water on. I highly recommend everyone do the same, and we'll rejoin you very shortly for the second half with a half-time score, Bristol 8, Catchup 5.
We are a group of ultimate players, coaches and video enthusiasts. We've worked with the major federations and the greatest events.
We're on a mission to make Ultimate huge. We want our videos and live streams to be free to watch.
We want to make stories that not only reach you,
but also reach people outside the Ultimate community.
Like and subscribe, Ultimate TV, the best in the world.
Become a member and
fund
our
work
work
to cover more events in the future and to bring more stories and live coverage to the eyes of the Ultimate world and beyond.
Welcome back to Ulti.tv's coverage of Vienna Spring Break, live here in Vienna. First game of the weekend in the women's division. We've got Bristol versus Catchup, with Bristol taking an 8-5 half-time lead. Benji Reese alongside Corey Sostre, and that's just going to be a strip. Bristol starting the second half on offense, so a chance to go with the old 2 for none here, 2 possessions, back-to-back. Nice inside break and utilising the height of the receiver well. Got to know your target in that time. Just again came around the backside, maybe a little bit guilty of underrunning it, and they're gunning it to space here. Layout makes the snag as well. retains it as she goes to ground. And that one just a little bit behind the receiver. The wind has certainly picked up actually over half-time. It's coming towards the camera and a little bit from right to left as you look at it on your picture, I think. So something for these two teams to contend with. Not particularly strong, but something I'd certainly say constitutes a thrower's wind. And that one gets guilty maybe of getting a little bit greedy and trying to sneak that up line, and Catchup have a definite policy on the turn, I think.
I was about to say to Benji too, 2 catch Ds, not just layout Ds or not just intimides or anything, actually catching the Ds too to run to the spot. So that's nice.
Yeah, it means you can immediately get started on your offense. You don't need to hang around, catch it and you go, and of course it means that there's no chance of the receiver getting maybe a second chance at it.
Exactly.
Disc reset into the center of the pitch. And Bristol, that one just sneaking through the hands, so maybe the little half-time break has maybe cooled some hands off a little bit. It's one of those things, it's nice to get the break, get some water on, do your tactics, talks, whatever, but sometimes it can just break your rhythm a little bit.
Completely agree. And as we can see too, kind of seeing Catchup kind of getting a little bit more of this momentum, see how they can play on that.
Nice high snag there with the outstretched left hand.
Oh, is that a hammer?
Love to see it. Again, opening up the box of tricks. Going with the overhead, and that was a really nice idea. Just a little drop of the weight, get low to the ground, really get that space for that inside flick. Just overshot it slightly, but it was a shame because it was a really good look, moving the disc all the way from that side of the field and utilizing that huge channel you've created for yourself.
Exactly, that too. And like we said, inside throw is one of my favorite things, just to see. It was a very nice inside throw, just a little too much mustard on that one, but again, we go at it and see what the Catchup defense can offer.
Bristol forced to take the swing to start this possession. With a little bit of the wind going against them here, they're trying to force them to go really short, see if they can get the close towards, see if they can get the turn close to the end zone, and that is indeed what they've done.
We see Catchup taking a little bit of time right here just to kind of get their set finalized, see what's open.
Going into the center of the pitch, and always a dangerous situation because there's a lot of bodies there.
There was, but I thought Catchup had it right there too, but you see the Bristol defenders say, nope, that's mine.
The wind just certainly picked up here, and it's definitely something for both of these teams to contend with now. Really nice snag out into space there. Thought that just might have been gone for a second, and this one's just going to be a little bit too high. Tipped as they tried to bring it in. Both sides taking a little bit of time to adapt to the maybe a bit tighter defense, and certainly to the constraints of the wind as well.
And what I like about this point too, Benji, is you can really hear the Bristol sideline kind of amping their players up just to be like, hey, forget this mistake, let's go ahead and let's continue to grind.
Nice inside shot there. Thought they were going to get that continuation into the end zone, but they're going with the hammer instead, and maybe just too much zip on that one because it looked like it was thrown with an awful lot of velocity.
I think so. I mean, that was a beautiful hammer right there. It cut right through the wind too, so just a little bit unlucky.
It's one of those where you want to get so much spin on the disc to make sure that it holds its shape and really cuts through that wind, but it's difficult trying to do that and still get that sort of touch and weight of pass you want. Bristol throwing this one out into space. The receiver's there, and in a massive humanity, Bristol come out with it. This is a big ask, and I thought maybe the layout was there, but perhaps just a touch too far and a touch too low, really, especially for a taller receiver. Getting down that low is not easy.
But that was a nice concentration on the Bristol offense right there, just to see that deflected disc come back into the hands, allow the drive to keep going.
And even though it's going to be a timeout here for Catchup, I think, but not a surprise, this point's grinding on a little bit here, and teams taking some time to adjust to the weather conditions. And yeah, with the final deep look, even though it's not come off, you played a lot of this point in your half of the field, so getting it down the other end, not necessarily a bad call, especially because you've shown that you can generate those turns.
Exactly, I completely agree with that, and then also just kind of to still admire the respect that you still have that deep game as well too, to respect it, so that, hey, you know, we're not just going to beat you with the unders, we can also beat you with the deep looks, and like you said, just to open up some spaces. And now it's going to be interesting to see what Catchup can offer on their own end zone.
I'm just seeing some highlights of this point, and there's been a few.
It feels like 3 points ago with all these highlights we've gotten. Great job, guys.
Yeah, they're putting a show on for the fans. Certainly watching live on ulti.tv's YouTube channel for free as well, and that is our commitment, is to continue to bring you games absolutely free of charge, both to watch live and on demand as well. And if you think that's something that is to be celebrated and is worth doing, to not put games behind paywalls, which is it's a business model that works for a lot of people, but it's not necessarily what we want to do. We'd like to continue to bring you the games free of charge, but if you are in a position to contribute, then we highly recommend you check out our Patreon page, where you can subscribe from as little as a couple of euros a month, just to help support the work that we do, that allows you to bring you tournaments like this Vienna Spring Break. And we're double dipping next weekend. We've got Tom's Tourney in Bruges and the European Masters Club Championships out in Wrocław in Poland. There's a full Ultimate Summer coming up, and you can watch it all free of charge on ulti.tv. And if everyone who is able to just chips a little bit in, then yeah, we can continue to hopefully do more coverage and do better coverage as well. That's always what we aim to achieve here. There we are. There's my shilling done.
It was a pretty good one right there.
Yeah, it's annoying that I have to do it, but I also genuinely believe in it, so it's not so bad.
Exactly.
I know. I was going to say, I know how the sausage gets made, and I was like, does that work in Austria? And I was like, I think it does, yeah.
I think so.
I know how the wurst gets made.
It's a pretty good analogy right there. Coming back from the timeout as well, too. Interesting stack to see. Nice vertical.
Yeah. Obviously, coming in off the timeout, it's tricky because you can't get that motion going before the disc is checked in, and that means often you do get yourself into high stall counts. Bristol choosing just to mark this quote-unquote honestly, just going one-to-one and getting the underneath coming there from the back of the stack where there's the most potential space to gain. They've spaced that out certainly a lot better, getting themselves a bit more room to work with between, but trying to sneak that one onto the sideline, maybe in a little bit too narrow of a space, and that allows the defender to gobble that one up and smack it away.
And like we see here, just excellent field position to see if Bristol can capitalize on that.
Thought about the long shot, doesn't like it. Now the inside. First one goes, and then it's from the front of the stack, just threatening the dump. And then layout block from Catchup to secure the disc back. And I love seeing the little slap of hands between defender and receiver afterwards as well.
That's the spirit of the game right there. That was beautiful. She's not afraid of slaying it either.
There's going to be a pick in the middle of the pitch here, so it's just going to keep, stymie the flow of the game a little bit slightly. What a play. I mean, this is a perfectly good look to take, a little bit of space on the break side, and it really did require the defender to go full commitment for that layout to prevent it sticking in to Bristol hands. What a play.
And like we say, we're still on the same point. That's the beautiful thing about it.
Oh, God, yeah. Play of the game so far, I think. Could well be. It's nothing quite like a layout D, I think, is there?
No.
Unfortunately for Catchup, not able to make the most of it. So really good field position here. You can hear the shouts from the sideline going immediately into the end zone set. Maybe they're going to isolate receivers. They've got the dump available. That's where they go. Utilize the open player, trying to swing it out towards that far sideline.
She's wide.
Didn't like the spacing there, so going around towards the front of the end zone here. Still not quite in yet. There's a little inside window there, but didn't like it. Didn't want to maybe rush or try and jam that throw, especially in a little bit of wind. Getting poachers sitting out in this lane, so they just got to find the free players here, see if they can utilize them. There's a lot of space behind for those resets and those swings, and they're using that wisely.
Exactly, just kind of keep the flow of the game going, keep the flow of the end zone, just rock them to sleep.
It's a nice analogy. I might steal that. Thanks, Corey.
Of course.
Nice little up line there. Still not quite in the end zone yet, and eventually, despite the valiant bid, just sneaks its way into the back of the end zone. And good end zone defense there from Catchup, because they stopped the score for a lot of the time, forced Bristol back. But you really you've got to credit the patience that the Brits showed there, just took their time, waited for the opportunity to develop, and just a little bit of separation invites the layout, but just enough little curve on that to take it around the binning defender and into the hands for the first goal of this second half, and Bristol lead 9-5.
I was about to say, I got to give my flowers to both teams right there at that point in particular. I mean, just the whole game has been a really fantastic game to start off with, but just that point in particular just kind of encapsulate everything that we saw. We saw 2 run Ds, we saw layouts, we saw snags, we saw deep throws. It's just everything you could want right there. So even some hammers too. Completely forgot about the hammers. It's just,
right?
Oh my goodness.
But they're spoiling us, putting on a show first game of the tournament.
I was about to say, maybe we got to put more cam on.
I mean, we'll see. We've already had to do an emergency trip to a notable European technology chain, which I won't name because they've not sponsored us.
Yes.
So you got to pay hard to get.
What a fun trip that was, though.
Oh, it was illuminating, pun not intended. That ball's going to sneak out the far sideline, so unsurprisingly, I think Catchup choosing to take the brick. They might lose a little bit of vertical field position, but it's a good trade-off to get the disc in the centre and attack both sides, especially in this horizontal setup. Trying to switch to pick up those matchups, see if they can mark a little bit smarter rather than harder. This one is low and lasered towards the end zone. Would have been a hell of a shot if it came off, but that time just asked a bit too much of the target. Visionary look, though.
It was.
Really sighed through Bristol's defence.
She's looking.
Oh, I thought that could go as well. Oh, it could certainly go now. No! Instead, just waiting, forcing the cut to come under a little bit, and then waiting it towards the end zone. Brilliantly done. That is exactly what Bristol were practicing in the warm-up. Getting those deep players go. If you don't like it, fake it, motion them to come under a little bit there. Get them coming back towards the disc, making the catch, and then the nice continuation there. Getting another receiver in the area. There you see, doesn't like the first look, and then the second comes back towards the disc. There's still that separation to find that look, and then there's the backup, and just waited into the end zone towards the back there for the goal. It's another Bristol break, and that's their second point on the bounce in this second half to go 10-5 in the lead now, when they've opened up a bit of separation that perhaps the previous form book at this tournament would have suggested.
Exactly. That was just nice chilly offense, like you said, just as the practice and the warm-ups, just kind of you fake the throw. I mean, it fooled me. I'm not gonna lie. There was 2 of them. I thought they could just.
I'll be honest. I was wanting them to bang it pretty much the entire point,
which is nice.
I think that says a lot about me as a handler.
I just love them. But even then, too, you just see the nice chilly offense just to kind of take what they give you and then make it flow down the field for the score.
What's the phrase? You can't go broke taking a profit.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm not doing my best American announcer voice for that one. So I'll spare everyone the grim details.
Now, Benji, I'm also interested to see, too, if Catchup goes back to that horizontal stack. It had success. It's had success this game, too, just to see kind of what they facilitate.
Looks like they're switching back into a vertical set. Utilising a little bit of space from the front of the stack. That throws low. Going to ground, but can't make the play. So Bristol, again, maybe they've got the break train rocking and rolling here. So we're underway after the turn. Catchup trying to get loud here, but Bristol so far seeming a little bit unfazed, just taking the short options. We know that they've got the arm to unlock it deep when they want to. This time a little bit of handler motion first. Handler clears out. Good low snag there with the left hand, getting it towards the sideline, really distributing the disc well. And this one,
the blade.
Hello, well read as well. That's a look we saw Catchup utilise a lot in the first half, that blade towards the back corner. And I must admit, I didn't see that one coming, but they're in a lot better position than I am. Saw the space, and it's a real, not quite a trust ball, but it shows a lot of faith in your confidence as a thrower, and a lot of confidence in your receiver as well, that you've seen the space, you'll trust that they're reading the game in the same way you are, and just putting it out there. And yeah, the defender kind of probably not expecting that shot to go up. It's comfortably over the head and just a few little back paces to make that a much more comfortable catch with room to spare. And Bristol are really, they're on the march now, 11-5, and you know, this is, I think Catchup might have had the disc to make it 6-all at one point, and from then Bristol have scored 5 in a row. That's yeah, they've turned it on when they needed to.
Exactly, and even then, just the trust, like you said before, of your defender and also your handler to make that throw and catch. I mean, that thing was a cheeky blade to the back, and that was some distance too. She was pretty far from that throw, so I was shocked just to see it go up, but can't blame it.
No, I'm loving it. There's been some creative throwing decisions, and that makes me very happy. Bristol pulling again. Can Catchup make that mental reset? Think about all the good stuff they did early in the first half of this game. Try and get themselves back on the board and put a bit more pressure here on the defending champions. Being forced into a high stall, so taking the sensible option of trying to get the yards downfield, and despite clearly losing the height match up there, just read the disc a little bit better, a bit more intrepid in trying to get it earlier. And they've earned themselves the turn. Good pressure as well to force the high stall punt.
Exactly. And even a double doink D right there.
Once is good, twice is nice, but no such luck on the around on that occasion. So it's going to go out on the sideline, I think right in front of camera 2. Oh, centering pass just sneaks past Bristol defender. And they're going to put it deep now. They've got the option. This time they can make it stick. Catchup finally back on the board, stopping that 5-point run to make it 11-6.
And what another phenomenal catch to the fully extended arm, just to reach it at its high points and make sure that the defender can't get it. So we can see Catchup's trying to lessen the blow, make sure that, you know, get some more consistencies in there. So I'm excited to see what their defense has to offer and also how Bristol can respond to this as well.
And this is one of the great things about Ultimate, is that, you know, you need to score that last point to win. There's no hard time cap in place. You just keep going until that winning point is scored. So it really forces teams to have that mental fortitude, I think, to close games out. And I think we've all seen those sorts of comebacks happen where teams are, you know, they seem dead and buried going into the cap, and then you get 1, 2, 3 points, and all of a sudden the team that's in a good position begins to sweat. They feel the pressure a little bit. They make silly mistakes, and then the game closes and closes. Will this happen today? You'd think perhaps with the quality Bristol have, maybe not, but certainly Catchup have shown that they've got a number of weapons in their arsenal this game. Catchup have pulled well this game, and another good one there. Caught by Bristol. Catchup. Oh! Maybe a little bit of, I don't know whether that was the chanting getting into the Bristol heads a little bit, or just guilty of looking at the next pass before that one was completed. But a good opportunity here for Bristol to find their first break of this second half. Generally when they've needed to, Bristol have been so good at getting the disc back on offense after they've turned it over. And that one just a little overthrow. And there's a Bristol player there.
I think she just dropped it. Did it fall to her hand?
I'll be honest, I didn't get a good look at it. There was a lot of traffic in the way. She catches it and then...
Oh, a hand block it looks like.
Yeah, just trying to get the hand in there just to maybe disrupt a little bit of rhythm. And then what a way to take advantage.
She's been wanting to throw that. I think that's the third hammer we've seen from her today, and the other two weren't caught, but this one was caught for the score, so that's... Love to see it. Encouraging more.
So, when I started up playing Ultimate years ago, it was 12 years ago, but hammers were seen as really unconventional throws. Like teams that threw hammers were like, oh, what are they doing? It's so dangerous. I can't believe they do that. But especially when there's not much wind, you know, you practice those an awful lot. In the end, in the red zone especially, where space is at a premium, often you've got, you know, that really tight unit in the middle, that stack, and you've got a lot of space on that break side, you want to attack it from quite far on the open side. A hammer's easily the best way of getting it there, and if you practice it enough, I don't think it's dangerous at all. It's a brilliant way of accessing that space, and we saw it to devastating effect there.
I completely agree with you, Benji. Honestly, the hammer's probably my best throw I have. And it's just so potent. If you can get it right, it just makes that much more of an effect. And it makes the mark respect you as much more too, because, you know, if you can throw a nice backhander flick, then they don't have to worry about this. But if you can throw with that hammer, it makes them take that other couple of seconds to be like, actually I have to defend this as well too, which can open up your game and open up your plethora of options as well.
Yeah, it's not just the hammer, it's, you know, throwing, you know, as you say, the forehand and backhand at different angles,
exactly,
different release points, so you're always keeping the mark guessing. Have you got hammers? Have you got scubas? You know, maybe an offhand throw.
Exactly.
Just constantly trying to keep the mark guessing and on their toes makes their job so much tougher. This is a rip, but it's going to tail out of this sideline. Just going to see whether Bristol are going to choose to take it from the brick mark or take it from the sideline with a bit further down. I think it looks like we're going to go from the sideline.
Take it for the sideline. Hopefully Felix is all right.
Yeah, didn't like the first up-line cut, but likes the second. And now that arcing backhand towards the back of the end zone. What a throw. So brilliantly weighted. Again, luring a couple of defenders underneath the disc. But the handler, after having made that up line cut, didn't get the disc. Didn't just, you know, not get involved, but turned it into another option. Transitioned that into a deep cut. So when the second up line cut came, that throw's going to go, and just leading it towards the middle of the field into that space. Brilliantly weighted throw. That'll be 12-7 now to Bristol, I think.
And honestly, that's just what I've seen from Bristol right now, at least in this game too, is just kind of have that timing, which is very key, I guess, within your teammates and also kind of just within your handlers and cuddlers, because you do need to have that. And as you can see, they've utilized it multiple times there where one catches it, the other one immediately makes their cut or immediately goes deep. So
just gonna get to make sure. There we go. a little bit of. I was gonna say some sand in the scoreboard. Not that we've done any beach for like half a year, but it's hey, I'm still finding sand from my first Paganello a decade ago. Gets everywhere, and sometimes yeah, just do have a little technical hitches or two. Here's Catchup on offense. Trying to lead this through the handlers. I thought that was going to invite the bid from the defender, but the handler didn't want to let that in there and closed on that quickly. This is a low throw, going to require the bid, and that's a really good snag. A, to get it so close to the ground, and B, not to ground strip yourself on the landing, and then getting back to work, not you know, milking that at all, dishing the disc off and trying to get back involved with the offense. Things stagnate a little bit here. Can Catchup find the option? No.
What a nice run through D there. And beautiful on the mark for Bristol too, just to keep the stall going up to make that decision.
Yeah, when Catchup were moving the disc quickly, Bristol really had a job stopping them, but as soon as they held it for, you know, 4 or 5 seconds, that flow was stymied and they couldn't find an option that they needed.
Ooh. Another run through D.
Yeah, just trying to squeeze that on the narrow channel in front of the sideline, and yeah, that window closed pretty rapidly. Hooter goes in the background, and I think the cap is finished the point +1. So we'll have a game to 13 or a game to 14. Depending on the outcome of this point. Ambitious throw there. Yeah, just stuck out that arm, tried to get it to stick. The disc had other ideas. Feel a little bit the catch-up energy has maybe dissipated a bit. But they're trying to pick themselves up and they're doing it well. Bristol back on offense. Really trying to matriculate the disc down the field. Utilising that lefty, really close to the camera. Good break to get it off the sideline. Give yourself a lot more break space to easily attack downfield. Not far out now. No easy end zone option. I think they could have taken that dump a little bit sooner, and it's all very congested. So just tried to jam it in the jam hole, and yeah, very nearly got a, well, very nearly had someone getting an awful lot of disc that they weren't expecting.
I guess they're eating Frisbee for breakfast.
Is that first breakfast or second breakfast?
Maybe third for some people. Seems like there's a little discussion going on too.
Yeah, maybe just where the disc is going to be brought back in and it's all checked and ready to go. So on the doorstep, Bristol not able to punch in there. And Catchup doing very well. They're already at half field. Swinging central, disc's a bit high but well reeled in. No problem. And it looks like they've got bored of playing short. They're looking for the deep look, a little tip, and nearly left it in there for the second effort grab. This is why we've said it so often, you've got to catch your Ds, because otherwise that window is, that door is ever so slightly ajar. And, well, Catchup tried to lay out straight through it. They're going to get on the replay. Whoa, just agonizing there for the receiver. Desperately seeing it fall away. Oh no, Bristol don't want to hang about either. But
what a snag.
What a snatch out of the sky. Made that look easy.
Yeah.
Oh, miscommunication there. Just maybe guilty of locking onto the receiver perhaps and just not seeing the defender closing into that space. Easily done, but Bristol punished for it. And that one just sneaks through the hands. So we've had a couple of points like this game where it feels like points have either generally been pretty clean, or when you've had a few turnovers, players maybe just get a little bit tired this early in the season, and you make a couple more, frustrating errors perhaps.
Completely agree too. It's just kind of these grind points, they really take a toll, especially early, and we've had a few of them to begin the series. Wow.
That was so fluid. I was just going to wait to see whether it was in on this far sideline because it's difficult to get that angle here. But again, like it all came from Catchup. Just, they were being given those slightly easier resets, utilised them well. And just going to be some clarification as to what the cap rules are. So we're just going to get a clarification here. I might well have been misinformed about the cap rules, which is highly likely. And it looks like it is going to be hand slaps all round, so that will be game. The final score here is going to be Bristol 12, Catchup 8. And I think Bristol were good value for it. Catchup put up a good fight, but Bristol just had a bit too much quality in that game for them.
I completely agree. I mean, I think it was a great effort from both teams. We had a pretty good game to start off with. I think Bristol learned a few things maybe that they can go into the next game kind of thinking about, while also facilitating the good things they do about, and then also Catchup just kind of using that momentum and using that energy that they had early to kind of facilitate the next game as well too.
So that's going to do it for our coverage of Game 1 here at Vienna Spring Break. Do not go anywhere. We're staying here. We're going to close down the live broadcast for this, and we'll open up the one for our next game, which is Foy from the Czech Republic versus Fire of London from the UK. But that'll do it for Game 1 here at Vienna Spring Break. So for Corey Sostre, I'm Benjamin Rees, and we'll see you on the other side.
3, 2, 1. Welcome to the machine.